The winds of the Dnieper River carried with them more than the scent of pine and smoke. They carried stories of warriors, of sacrifices, of men who gave their lives so their land could remain free. Among those men was Stepan, a seasoned Cossack, whose name was whispered with both respect and fear. Stepan was no longer young. Silver streaks had taken over his once dark hair, and his beard was heavy with years of battles. But his eyes, sharp, steady, unwavering, still burned with the fire of youth. His life was the battlefield, his oath was to his homeland. And his greatest treasure was not gold or land, but his only son. Ivan, from the time Ivan could walk, Stepan trained him. The boy learned to draw a bow, to mount a horse, to read the signs of the river and the stars. Yet Stepan's lessons were never just about weapons. Time and again he told his son the same words. A sword, my son, is not a tool for pride or greed. It must never be raised to harm the innocent. It exists for one sacred purpose, the freedom of our people and the protection of our land. Ivan would nod, though he was too young to truly understand. Still, he listened. He always listened. It was on a winter's night that the storm finally came. A strange glow lit up the sky. At first, the villagers thought it was lightning, but soon the truth revealed itself, flames rising in the distance, enemy horsemen charging under a blood-red moon. The alarm bells tolled, women clutched their children. Men grabbed pitchforks and rusty spears. And Stepan, though his body ached with age and old wounds, tightened his belt and strapped on his sword one last time. Before leaving his hut, he turned to Ivan, who stood trembling, clutching a wooden practice blade. "Ivan," Stepan said, his voice steady despite the chaos outside, "the day I feared has come sooner than I wished. Tonight we fight not for glory but for survival." He unsheathed his sword, a blade scarred with years of battle, its steel bearing the memory of countless enemies. He pressed it into his son's hands. "This sword is now yours. But listen well, do not raise it in anger, nor for vengeance, nor for selfish gain. Swear to me, Ivan, swear that this steel will only shine for freedom." Ivan's small hands trembled as he held the weapon. His eyes filled with tears. "I swear, father, I will protect our people, I will protect our land." Stepan placed a heavy hand on his son's shoulder, pride softening his battle-worn face. "Then you carry not just a blade, but the soul of a Cossack." With those words, Stepan stepped into the night. He fought with the fury of 10 men, his roar echoing across the fields. But no warrior can fight forever. Surrounded, bleeding, he fell with his face to the sky, whispering one last prayer for his son. Ivan grew up with the weight of that sword. He became tall and strong, his arms hardened by work in the fields, his heart sharpened by the memory of his father's death. Yet though he trained tirelessly, the blade never left its sheath. There were moments when temptation gnawed at him. Bandits once mocked him, calling him a coward for carrying a weapon he would not use. "A Cossack who hides his steel? Better you sell it for bread, boy," they jeered, but Ivan remembered. His father's voice lived within him. He would not break the promise. One spring, as the flowers bloomed along the riverbanks, the same enemy banners appeared once more on the horizon. This time Ivan was no boy. The village panicked, just as it had years before. But now, eyes turned to him. "You are Stepan's son," the elders said. "You carry his blood. Will you stand idle as they burn our homes again?" Ivan closed his eyes, his hand resting on the hilt of the sword. He could almost hear his father's voice whispering in the wind. The promise, the purpose, the moment had come. With a deep breath, Ivan unsheathed the blade. The steel gleamed, catching the sunlight as though his father's spirit had polished it that very morning. The villagers fell silent, awe filling their faces. Ivan raised the sword high and shouted, "This blade is not mine, it belongs to Ukraine. Tonight it rises, not for me, but for freedom." The clash was brutal. Ivan led the charge, his father's sword cutting through enemy lines like a storm tearing through branches. He fought with a strength beyond his years, as though Stepan himself fought beside him. Each strike was guided not by rage, but by duty. The villagers rallied behind him. The enemy, stunned by the ferocity of their resistance, began to falter. By dawn, the village still stood, burnt, scarred, but alive, that night. When the fires were finally quenched and the dead buried, Ivan walked alone to the riverbank. He planted the sword upright in the earth and knelt before it. Tears streaked his dirt-stained face as he whispered, "Father, I kept my word. The blade rose for freedom, and for freedom alone. Our land still breathes. Your promise lives on." The river seemed to answer, its waves whispering softly in the moonlight. And so the tale of Stepan and Ivan became legend proof that a Cossack's promise is stronger than death itself.